Alrighty, what's up, y'all? Motorcycle therapy time. Hold on, check out the lady at the cart thing at Kroger. Might get me a new girlfriend. Anywho, motorcycle therapy. Is today's Saturday? I think I can turn on red. We about to find out if I get arrested. Yeah, I be crying, right? I'm gonna just get to the point. I be crying like a bitch, but that's okay because I need to. And so do you, right? So I've talked about this in plenty videos before. I don't know which platform it's on. I know all of my long form content is on the YouTubes. So if you want to catch up on all the background story of this here broken individual, please feel free. But I'm just going to start off right here is that I spent many years going through pain. I've experienced a lot of shit, as have most people. And I spent many years in limbo, especially as a dude, young black man in the world, trying to survive, take care of a family and all the general backstory stuff, right? And for a while, way back, I experienced a very strange bout of insomnia around 2012, something like that. Like I said, way back, it's 14 something years ago. Actually, it's probably 2011, where I would be up all night. I could maybe get like an hour nap in somewhere, maybe once or twice a week, but I was up for like 3 or 4 days. I never experienced any like psychosis or like, you know, that I'm aware of, that I can remember, but that year was pretty foggy, and it was, you know, stress in life and emotional stuff. And then I was like, cool, I finally got over that eventually, and then stress started hitting me a different way. You know, my heart started acting up, and then my skin started breaking out. I'm like, shit, will you pick a lane, pick a thing, and stick with that? Because I was just getting used to the insomnia, just getting used to the skin thing, and then I was just getting, I'm like, okay, I got the stress test. They put the octopus diet in me. They put me on the treadmill. They was like, yeah, your heart's fine, son. I don't know what it is. It's probably stress. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Just sleep, or do I get a follow-up? Put me on a 23-hour Holter monitor twice. The first time, the little sticky pad ripped the titty meat off, I was pretty pissed. And then they were like, oh yeah, the readings don't look right, so we got to do it again. And they did it again, and they was like, oh yeah, your heart's fucked, son, so we gotta do some more testing. So I'm like, okay. And then during that time, somehow, all of these years up until 2025, I somewhat lost my ability to cry. And I didn't really notice it. I just know stuff kept happening, and I just stopped crying. Right? I was sad, I was upset, I was distraught, I was whatever the hell I was feeling, but I had no tears for it. I used to be the angry kid, cry in tears, not like, oh, I see red. That's I would call those people some names if I want to offend anybody. I see red. Bitch, you see whatever was in front of you, you just got mad. But I couldn't fight. Well, I could fight, like, had the physical ability to fight, but I couldn't fight the person I was mad at, because it was either a lady, my ex-girlfriend's or wife, or family. It wasn't like a stranger, somebody I could fuck up. And then once it became those people, I was too far in life to subject myself to jail time, so I just would get pissed and cry about it. And then, you know, that was still my middle-aged younger man. I don't know what middle-aged is, whatever, about 20s and 30s. And then it just stopped. Like one day, when I noticed it was when my brother passed away. He was murdered years and years ago during COVID. And when my stepmom called me, she told me, and I was hurt, I was sad. You know, the same sensations you feel when you get told somebody died, especially untimely death, especially nefarious intent murder, right? And then I was talking to my daughter, and I was talking to my ex-wife, and I just was like, you know, it sucks, I can't go see him, I'm gonna just chill out. And then they gave me some time alone, and I was just sitting down in the basement just staring, and I wanted to cry. I had the sensation. I think I might have teared up a little bit, but then that tear stuck back up into my eye like a booger from a runny-nosed kid. That boy was like, and then I didn't cry from 2019 up until I think around 2024. I really wanted to some days, because I learned and I grew, and I know the healing capabilities of a good cry, right? There's different ways to vent. There's just, you got to get the bad juju out of your body, right? I took these classes and courses, and I tried to better myself and all this stuff, but sometimes the physical response, like a hug or a kiss, or, you know, just somebody listening to you venting, there's different ways your body processes all the things, and crying is absolutely important and therapeutic for men and women, thug, weenie, whatever. Tears are good. And then most recently, I had a very unfortunate ending of a relationship. And then before that, my daughter hadn't talked to me for a year. This was like, so the year, my daughter thing, and then like 2 years went by. We built our relationship. You know, I started venting and talking to my daughter, doing all this other stuff, and got in a relationship with a young lady. That ended horribly. And I got hurt. And I started bitching about it and venting on the internet. And then my mom died. And then my body mutinied and said, you know what, motherfucker? Every tear for the last 10 years is falling out of your ass right now. And I cried for days. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not using hyperbole. I cried every day, multiple times a day, 7, 8, 9 times. I'm talking about I was at work and I would just leave an area, a briefing, talking to somebody in the hallway. I'd just be like, it's hitting me, and I would just leave. Right now I've grown into it, and people have grown into seeing me cry and change. And I explained this to my unit, right? I got up in front of them and I briefed them, and I gave them a nice little speech about perseverance and all the stuff I've been through in life, and being shot at, and having a kid that I lost a child years and years ago, back in 2000. I think that was 9. Unborn child passed away. All the stuff, right? Life, shit that people go through. And they teared up, and I teared up with them. And then I said, you know what? This doesn't embarrass me. I have no embarrassment left after my mom died, because all of that shit fell out of my body. A lot of the stuff that I cared about disappeared. Stuff that pissed me off or angered me, it didn't matter no more. Some things came back eventually over this last year, because I'm a human, right? I just didn't forget my entire past. I didn't forget my boundaries, whatever. But a lot of the big rocks and the major stuff, I was like, fuck, I don't care. I don't care. And through crying, I have been able to vent and express myself. Now it'll be, I said it in one of my other videos, and at the end of the day, when things are calming down, my brain can relax and I'm not being pressured to go to meetings and do things, talk in front of people and yap like this. I'll have a moment of silence, calm, and then my body's like, hey, you feel like crying? And I'm like, nah, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Let's do it. We on the same page, because it used to be, oh, bitch, it's happening. I don't care what you're doing. You driving home? Cool. You at the McDonald's drive-thru? I don't give a shit. You crying. Oh, you trying to get 2 gallons of milk because you just want to eat some cereal at the middle of the day because you feel like it? Yeah. Checkout line? You crying. It's happening. And that's been my last year. I had almost no autonomy. I think whatever happened, the culmination of all these events, my, baser needs, my default settings, my BIOS, if you will, just took over and was like, my higher functions don't work for this situation. I could not stop myself. I could not say, I'm not about to cry, I'm about to fight it. There was no fight. Tears came out. I would be looking like, what is happening? Sorrow, grief, sadness, all the things. Culmination of all the years. Cool. And now, somebody rolls in on me at the end of the day and they see me crying. They're like, what's up? And I'm like, just thinking about my mom. Same thing I said to my daughter one day. She came in from work. I'm sitting on the couch crying. She's like, you all right? I said, no. Thinking about my mom, thinking about your grandma, I'll be cool in a minute. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I just grew into it because for whatever reason, suppressing, don't know why. It wasn't like I was trying to be tough. I had a little street in me growing up, but luckily I had 4 parents to guide me away from that life where I had to be super tough and gruff all the time. So it wasn't like I was trying to impress nobody. I just lost my ability to cry. And when I really wanted to years ago, I was like, God, something's wrong with me. I am broken. Now I think I'm overcompensated. I'm broken in the opposite way, but I'm broken for the better. I think I've explained that as well too. Right, I'd rather cry than hold it in, have my heart fall out of my chest. My nervous system's all jacked up, skin's messed up, itching when I get stressed out. Oh yeah, you got this because of stress. And I'm like, shit, I'd rather just cry, bro. Cry and live longer. Young man, young woman, get it out. I'm not saying I'm sappy, which I am a little bit. Who cares? Fuck it. The world ain't here to make me feel better about my tears, so I'm going to use my tears to make me feel better. I don't cry just because, right? I'm not just sitting around whining and crying and bitching and moaning, even though this video seems to illustrate the opposite, because I'm complaining. Or I'm venting, I'm not complaining. But if things affect me emotionally, I'll just let it happen, right? I was watching, this how I used to hate people crying in movies. I'm like, you a bitch. Quit crying. Man, I'm a Marvel fanboy. I used to be a Marvel super nerd. I let it fade out. But I was watching the spoiler alert. I was watching the new Spider-Man, and there was a scene where him and MJ was on the roof, and I'm like, oh, she about to get her memories back. And then they did something else in the scene. I was tearing up because they was right there, and she was about to say something, and then something else happened in the scene that kept that from happening. And I was like, oh, you dirty bitch. you ruined it. Oh God, I was pissed, and I was like, what? I was emotional because I was happy, because I get happy tears too. It ain't just about, the stress. It's about the guttural reaction that people have when your body just wants to do. And I've had happy tears. Seeing my daughter walk across the graduation stage when she did her certificate program at Dorsey College. Who cares if it ain't a master's? Who cares if it ain't a doctorate? My daughter did something fantastic. She did something I didn't do. Right? She walked across I graduated, but I didn't do the course that she did. She achieved something that I didn't do and wouldn't do, because she's carving out her own path, and I'm proud of my daughter. I'm like, I'm proud of you. I see her walk across the stage. It was tears of happiness. I yelled at her later because she didn't wash her fucking dishes, but at that point, I was happy. And then, things happen. I get sad. I get my little bouts of depression, just like normal people do. I get my bouts of, I'm thinking about my mom, I'm thinking about the mistakes I made in the past, and then I'm back to normal. Rather than just pushing them to the side or brushing them under the rug or doing whatever term you can think of to ignore the problem. If it calls for tears, I'll allow it to call for tears. I don't let it become a debilitating, I'm in the corner curled up crying like the day my mama died. I was done. Couldn't tell me nothing. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't process. Different type of tears. And it's not like I'm just crying all day, every day. However, there is no shame. There is no embarrassment. There is no, oh, I'm crying. Let me just run into the... I'll have a full conversation with somebody with a tear running down my face. I don't care anymore. I'd rather live and cry than die with dry eyes. Because who am I trying to impress? Nobody. And I tell my folks that don't try to impress nobody, because when I'm sitting there on that hospital bed because I'm stressed out and my heart's not beating right, and I'm in my late 20s and the doctors are saying we guess, because my body's turning on me due to stress, and then it took me another 12 years to come to terms with the fact that I need to do whatever I can to mitigate my stress, relieve stress, vent, live longer, healthier, best life I can. I still be doing some unhealthy shit. I love snackies. You see me posting my pictures. I'm a snacky boy. I love food, but I don't go overboard. I don't do crazy stuff that goes overboard. I ride fast on a motorcycle. I do stuff to try to in the limits a little bit. I gotta have some fun, but I also want to stay alive to have said fun. And I can't do that if I allow the stress to take me over, because I'm too busy trying to keep the corner of my eyes dry. Or I'm too busy trying to keep my eyelids from being tender from wiping from the tissue, because I was a wiping, crying. I was teardrop McGee, as Tony Baker would say. I was crying so much that my eyes hurt. I had to do the dabs. And then I would get a cold towel because my shit was burning. I could not touch my eyes and eyelids and face and stuff anymore because I was crying so much. I've since then leveled out after my mom passed, and the last year of my life came crashing down and a bunch of other stuff. And then I don't want to say come to terms, because come to terms is not what I want to say. God, I'm so good at words most times, but I have a symbiotic, beneficial, mutual relationship with my tears. My tears are for a good cause, to keep me alive. I'm not just crying because You know, I dropped another camera off my bike. That small potatoes. Not worried about that. I cry because I'm happy. I cry because I'm sad. I cry because I'm proud of my daughter. I cry because something gave me the urge to cry. I don't just make up problems, but if something hits me in the heartstrings and it calls for tears to come out of my face, they're coming at you. So, I mean, of course, if you punch me in the nose, I'm gonna cry too, because that shit hurts. But I think everyone, men, women, children, within reason, should be able to cry to relieve the stress of the event that's causing said tears. You still gotta move on. You still gotta go forward. That was sweet. But it doesn't mean you have to contain it and let it burrow inside you and make you a angry, shitty insomniac who can't cry for years until you notice that something's wrong with you while you're sitting on the edge of a hospital bed trying to get a diagnosis for something that's potentially stress related, because there is no other things in your life that are causing your heart to fall out. Irregular heartbeat. Been dealing with it for 2015, 11 years. Stress. Cry. I'm out.